released an album a couple months ago, and after I was done with it, I was like, I haven't written a poem in so long. What have I been doing? And I was like, oh yeah, I had to do a lot of stuff to get that album out in the world. So I wrote this poem in the wake of finishing a project just to remind myself that art is so valuable, right? And so for any of you, if you used to write, you used to play music, you used to paint, carve out a half hour just to try it again. Just sit down and do it. So what I made myself do, and this is the poem I got. It's called The Artist in Me Is at Risk Again. The artist in me is at risk again. The provider has taken the reins. She thinks of braces for her son, adventures in Ireland, a comfortable retirement for her husband. The provider hides behind purpose and responsibility. She is armed with reason, schedules, and efficiency. She thinks constantly of what needs to happen next, how to make the most money with the least amount of stress, with the greatest impact on our greater community. Meanwhile, the artist quietly curls up in bed. She's asleep under the covers, her eyes closed to beauty and pain. She feels too much to work for the provider full time. She needs to play. This life is pulsating in my wrist, faster and faster and faster and faster, but when I pause and let her speak, she reminds me that all I really want is to create beauty with the people whom I love. Say it, sing it again, it's true, I'm tired as but all I really want is to create beauty with the people whom I love.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
Will, why are you laughing?
Because you asked me how I make money as an artist. Oh man. Well, you don't. You don't unless you have a patron. Some people do. And now there's a website called Patreon and all this. And a lot of people do that. The only time I've made any money as an artist is to stay on the road. I was on the road for about 6 years out of 7. I was on tour and not at my house where I paid rent. And then I got by. I didn't have nice clothes. I had holes in all of my clothes and everything. I went to a resale store or the Salvation Army to get clothes and things like that. I was on food stamps and all that,
So Will has books back there. You should buy them, but if you can't, you might not be able to afford them. If you can't, just put some money in this, because we should support local artists, right?
Water in it?
Jesus. Oh, Jesus, hold on.
This is actually my job. This is what I do for a living, writing and yelling these poems at folks. So that's difficult and leaves me broke most of the time. So put money in the bucket. Anyway. I've done this a long time, and that's the only way I've ever made money at this. You find somebody that believes in you. The only way I've ever found to do that was to put my face in other people's faces and to hand them a book and say, I worked my ass off on this. If you can help me out as a worker, this is my work. This is my material. It's no different than you going to the farmer's market and you buying those strawberries instead of going down to Winco or whatever. I did this.
The best analogies ever written in life is love is you are, we are, I And we poets only think we can do better while we smash our faces into our little paper walls, hold our feet to the ground like we don't know we are weightless, we poets. Too heavy for all these weak measurements. I am a weak measurement of a poet, of what I think a poet is supposed to be. See me metaphor poorly. See me too many, too few, too obscure, too long, too short, too easy analogy. See me too many, too short, too few, too obscure, too long, too obscure, too dumb analogy. See me poet and poet and poet some more. See me poet again and poet some more. See me wonder why no one likes me. See me know my poems are terrible. See me write them anyway and wonder why no one likes my terrible poems. See me poet and poet again. See me go to jail. See me write poems about going to jail. See me cross country for no reason. See me look for reasons. See me look. See me suicide. See me poet. See me never talk to family and friends because I'm always gone. See me lose family and friends because they got used to me always being gone. See me poet and poet again. See me cry alone after a show that don't go well. See me celebrate too much after a show that does go well. See me scream at nothing because a promoter didn't pay what they promised and I don't know anyone for 100 miles. See me not mention any names because some of y'all might go to UMaine Presque Isle or know who the Mike Gwynn and Aaron Dockard are. See me unafraid to add more names to that list. See me cry alone after the best show of my life. See me have those moments to myself. See me be by myself in those moments. See me touch hearts but only hug bodies. See me want to touch so bad it hurts. See me want to be touched so bad it hurts. See me want to touch bodies so badly it hurts my heart. See me only get flirted with when I only do memorized poems. See me never know when I'm getting flirted with and hate all of my memorized poems. See me poet and poet and poet again. See me write, read, fail, drink, cuss, want, wish, lust, smoke. See me fade, see me die, see me poet.
You've already known Jeremiah Anderson is a part of a Reason to Listen, our poetry collective. Therese and I met Jeremiah when he was in high school. We performed for his class, and he was like, all right, I want to get on board with that. This is the first time he's released anything, so please give a warm welcome to Jeremiah Anderson.
Absence causes pain that spurs my blood to strain my veins and sears my eyes to weeping tears, but at last we have cast the plaster back to ask her before she disappears again. Why then do my questions crack the mirror when it reflects? I don't even miss the animal because it never left. A primal cry resides inside our minds, so don't be convinced there was a theft with a distressed breath. I howl through time. Just another fine and shining sign to show you that I kept mine shielded in rhyme. My beats speak blasphemies, afraid in the streets you can backpedal back to me if you were robbed and told good luck while parts of our world are corrupt. Even your dreams, free as they may seem to be, share a theme in a sequence where sequence seekers seek divinity within while the rest of the world caves in. The system is broken, but my words aren't choking, so I'll tell you. The social contract extracts an agonizing price if greed won't recognize the folks is sacrificed. Let's make them see us. If your wild side will not be tamed, then join me in saying that this is a shame. Where's the compassion? Because we are not as unfeeling as that beast that rises in the east and takes rest in the west. It's a flammable animal managing miracles from dawn on, and at dusk when night comes it gets chased away by traces of space dust, misplacing our trust in things not among us. It is precisely these sky cycle constellation stories I deny. They have shaped our lifestyles and that you must comply. Here unleashes the not so peaceful pieces of my central thesis. Here is why. Some demons try to trap us in made-up shapes like tetrahedrons, but this Norwegian heathen's not trying to please them, no. It's not that hard to prove. Glutton institutions writing blueprints providing confusion hurt you too. I mean, just look at these. Apathy factories and plastic catastrophes. Consider there are those convinced to build drones, unannounced and unknown, killing anonymously and alone. If you were wondering why I take this tone, it's because they're stealing the feelings we should show when others are struggling. It's That's why I wrote this poem. I'm not smuggling dissent, I bear it openly. Juggling difficult sentiments like I want no more empire and no more illusion, I want retribution. But wait, look what you did, you're scaring the kids. Good, the jungle isn't safer than the hood. You're a misanthrope, how do you cope with the fact that you killed their hopes of staying the same? Oh, I love that feeling, blame the change and heartache on me, you see. In this state of emergency, I try to remember how I asked for mercy when things got worse for me. We've been living from hand to mouth, but we're speaking from mouth to hand. It makes me think jaded thoughts like we're inaugurating robots I just don't understand. So predation is in, escalation no longer person to person, but nation to nation. And don't get impatient, just listen, the situation has worsened. More importantly, this disease won't cause you to bleed, but perceive the world differently. The world differently. Give it a chance. Thank you.
So this is the current that I've been writing for the last 4 years. And so it's coming out. I'm having a book launch, and it would be so cool if some Word Humboldt folks would come out and listen to me read from new. This is called Into a Poem. If I had a photograph of her skirt, satin, bunched like poverty to the knees, her cloth bag shouldered like a purse, white blouse with no apparent seams or shape, full of untucked and leftover disheveled. Her 8-year-old eyes glanced at me, 50, a foreign language, lips stuck to their purse, waist pushing, articulate and skilled purchase at the counter. I gave in. Remembered the childhood pretend, pressure, pleasure, pain, the pushing against walls I could not see or understand. That flood of P words struck me as I watched her pay the clerk, back straight, wrecked shoes. And then me, standing there, letting the whole thing go somehow, into a poem, at least.
Difficult people. I often work the door, and there's some people that aren't willing for whatever reason to help support our event and help pay for the DJ and the live artist and the featured poet and all of our work, and they will sneak around back and not pay, and I'll go up and I'll shake them down for their money.
I'll tell them, I'm like, Jeremiah, somebody just went to the back.
Yeah, and I got it, but it's like, why? If you're gonna be here enjoying all of this work and love and sincerity, how could you be so dishonest? That's something that really grinds my gears. That bugs me.
And we literally don't keep a dollar. Like, all of it, like, especially if we have an artist that comes through, like, we'll give them all the money. Like, and then we pay the person that films it, we pay Jay, we pay the live artist, like, we just give it all back to the community. So it's like, so then we just lay it on real thick. Like, you really don't like supporting local art? Like, really? Like, it's not worth $5, you know? I've got my speech done today. Yeah.
I'm glad they deal with it. I don't like to deal with that stuff.
Oh.
I'm just happily aloof floating around. Be like, is somebody just snuck in?
So the other benefit of being a part of the National Poetry Slam community is people like Ryan and Nate just send us emails and say, hey, like, we're going on tour, we want to come check out your venue, is that cool? And we're like, of course, that would be lovely to have you here. And I love talking to them before the show. They flew into San Francisco and landed last night at like 1 o'clock. So I super appreciate that after a 1 o'clock flight, they drove up here, had a quick little rest, and now they're gonna give you everything they got. So let's give them everything we got. And welcome Nate Mask and Ryan J on up to the stage.
What's going on? Where the are we? Eureka, California. How y'all doing? I am Nate Mass.
And I'm Ryan J.
And nobody likes us.
But we're here anyway.
So, we have had like 3 hours of sleep. We're real excited. We're going to give y'all a real weird show.
We got together and decided to go on a tour last year and put it together.
Yeah, it had been something I'd been like talking about and thinking about for a while, and you have somebody to kind of like work with and like one, hold you accountable, and two, like encourage you, and like you're not just on the road lonely the whole time. It made it a lot easier, so we kind of were like, okay, bro, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, that was like my first thing. Like coming out of college, I was like, yeah, I want to like get on the road and like tour the East Coast, but then you don't really know what you're doing, and then you meet somebody, and like you can kind of push one another.
Yeah.
I want you to take your dominant hand. I want you to snap for me. Okay. Now, at what point in the process of snapping does the snap sound? When is it made? Is it made when your fingers rub against one another, or is it made when your middle finger hits your palm?
And now I would like to ask you, who gives a where it comes from, as long as it makes a sound?
It's fun to write with somebody like else that has like a different perspective and like a different like writing style. And to me, the funny poems are more fun to perform. So I spend more time like memorizing and polishing like how they come off. So if we're doing a set and we're crafting like what's gonna be the best, the most entertaining, or what's gonna work the best, like I'm gonna lean towards my funny poems most of the time.
I have this habit, this innate ability to make a perfectly timed joke at precisely the wrong time. So she was cold, I was hot, and as I struggled to escape from the covers she had cocooned around us without aggravating her impending hypothermia, I said, in jest, maybe we just want different things out of life. You really want to have this conversation now? No, I don't. I don't want to have any conversation ever. I was joking, but I guess there's some truth in every joke. See, I used to sleep like a starfish, stretched out, hands hang gliding like freedom off each side of my queen-size bed, taking advantage of every square inch of space my 6'3" frame could occupy. But now, I sleep wedged between a pit bull and a beautiful woman.
It's just what's more fun for me. It's a lot easier to just avoid my emotions by laughing. It's like, it's my own coping mechanism. It's humor. Like anytime I'm uncomfortable, I'm gonna make a joke. So I just use that up there.
So I don't know if y'all remember when George Bush was president, and we were like, this is crazy. And it couldn't get crazier than this. What could be crazier than the vice president shooting his friend in the face and then getting an apology from him? That's nuts. Wow, how would it get any crazier? And then there was the fall of 2016.
And then enough people I feel like on the first leg have told us that our voices are like totally different. So it's like, well, let's just use that.
On the week of November 20th, 2017, Food Network and the delegations of white humans instituting taste exemption, henceforth referred to as whites, posted a video on Facebook which appeared on the timelines of niggas everywhere. In this video, titled The Ultimate Thanksgiving Mac and Cheese, Food Network employees and fellow whites got us all up by cutting up squash and Brussels sprouts into mac and cheese. Each slice, a tear down the face of every person who attended a Black Thanksgiving that year.
I think we have very similar approaches to things, but I feel like you just use less humor and more the other more metaphors and poetic things. And I'm just like, I'm gonna be funny and people forget that I'm not actually being deep.
So if you haven't guessed already, me and Nate have a dynamic. I am the sad, depressive one, and he's the funny one. So just be prepared for that. It's a roller coaster.
I like to incorporate humor into my pieces too, and I know Nate's funny, and I'm like, okay, I'll try to weave a joke or two in there, and then switch on you, and Nate likes to do the same thing, but I think I'm much more intense with it. I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Rewind. The first thing I remember fixing was my relationship with my father. Now, my birth is another complicated story about holes and balls, but I'll spare you the details for the sake of time and just tell you that if you were to stand us side by side, I start to look like the holes in his reflection, the parts I've stolen away from him. Now, I know what most of you would say, Ryan, you broke your father into pieces, but you, no one asked for your opinion. Rewind. To clarify, my father is the best imaginary friend that no one ever asked for. Rewind. My friends always ask me why I have such a large obsession with magic. I tell them it's because my father was the most amazing disappearing act when I needed him most. And I've always wondered why that trick seems so easy for him to pull off. Rewind. To clarify, my father's favorite color is... gray.
his favorite song is
You're dead.
Fast Forward. The last thing I remember fixing was my relationship with my father. He showed up late to my graduation. Opted to sit in the overflow seating even though he had a ticket for the auditorium. Thought that maybe he'd want to see me in person for once. Was tired of maintaining our relationship over screens like we had been doing for years, but you know, expectations. There's just some that's just too hard to break through. Some that's just too broken to fix, so instead, I'll give you all the alternative facts. AKA, the last thing I remember fixing was my relationship with my father. Woo! He said, I love you before we got off the phone. I didn't doubt him once. Thank you.
For me, being on stage is fun. Like it's something I get a lot of energy from. Like last night I was exhausted until we got on stage.
When I finally found my keys, wedged into the gears of a recliner in my living room, I realized two things. One, sometimes when you sit on your ass too long, things start to slip away from you. Two, sometimes when those things start to slip away from you, you gotta flip some shit upside down to get life back where it needs to be.
I think what it comes down to is putting yourself in a position where you can make money. We were really ambitious with this tour and deciding to go across the country. And so the main thing that eats up funds in that is travel costs, you know? So traveling over here, you know, makes it a little bit harder to be like, this is sustainable. But, you know, if we were to have stayed on the East Coast or like stayed like in the Midwest or something where driving distance, I think it probably would have been a little bit more sustainable.
I think that's a very common misconception about like art in any form full time is like, oh, it's not that hard. It's easy. I can just do the part that I like. But like, no, you have to, like, especially if you're like us, we at this point don't have like any sort of like representation or management. It's like you're doing all of that yourself. So you're not just doing the art part. You also have to do the business side behind it.
We have a lot of things to sell if you would like to buy them, and we don't want to take them back with us. So we have homegrown poetry t-shirts, we have tour t-shirts that say nobody likes us, but we're here anyway with our beautiful faces on them. We have books.
You have to do the booking, you have to plan travel, you have to find lodging and like all that kind of stuff.
I think that's the misconception is they tell you that like, oh, when you like do what you love, the money will come. It's like, no, there's also work behind the part, you know? It's like, yeah, I can love doing whatever I love doing, but if I'm not putting in the effort behind it, nothing's gonna come in. Yeah, doing the work is really what it comes down to. Yeah.
Somewhere along the way, I began revering stability, while the artist inside me continued starving, slowly withering away. That's when I found the darkness. I don't understand why illuminating ideas are incapable of finding me when all of my inventory is silver linings. Why must the darkness be the only thing that I find inspiring? It's got me blinded in light, looking for cracks in the bright, to embellish and relish in my own anxieties. Why is this darkness so goddamn inspiring? Has it always been this way? Will it always be this way? Will I continue to consider it a healthy outlet? Or is this a sign that I should start retiring from writing?
Never.
No. This gig. I quit. I don't need your $15 an hour or full-time shift. I don't need your lush benefits package. I don't need shitty coworkers, illegitimate leaders, or to feel like what I do to live is something that feeds my goddamn depression. This gig. I quit.
All right, so I'm just gonna do a little improv for you guys about sexy darkness. And I'm always taking recruits who wanna come up on stage with me and be a sexy dark just to get it out of your system. You know, combine poetry and improv and art, okay? All right, so here we go. Oh. Oh, yeah. father's family came from Louisiana 2 generations ago and was one of the first black families in this area, the Snowden family. So I have a really close personal connection with this land and the people here. And I would really just like to see there be more options, like outlets for healing and for community and for unity. We all need each other.
On tour, the whole crowd signs this thing. And I got it at the end of the night. They put the pay inside, right? Like it's a neat little thing. I got it, I said thank you, I put it in my bag, I sold some more books. I didn't think anything of it. I was on tour, so I just got the money out and, when I got back to the place. Next morning, I'm just kind of flipping through it. What'd they say, what'd they think? And then the second to last page, it said I was gonna kill myself tonight, and now I'm not. And that's why I do this. So yeah, I'm broke. I don't have any money, but I know I can help, and that's all I want to do. I just want to help.